Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. And this is what I call one of those Oh Happy Day videos because I'm doing a flip through. A flip through of these four, I keep calling them mini, but or when I'm writing notes and reminders to myself, calling them minis. But in fact, the books are 6x4, so they're not teeny tiny. You can, if you, now I've done I don't know, a couple videos at least with, you know, some of the updates or status reports or whatever on these journals. So there are similarities between them. As you can see, they're all the same size. They all began with the same kind of antique books. Well, the title pages will tell us the dates if I haven't covered them up. And they all have common elements like slow stitching on the fabric cover and so on. But let's get to it. Well, I guess we'll see how quickly I can do this. If it looks like this is taking too long, then I will probably stop in my tracks. Now this, I'll just slide it off for ease of. Now I love the way this pink satin ribbon matches this cover, and that's why I'm trying to make it work. However, it's not really long enough in truth to make a bow or to wrap around twice, so I don't know. I might have to change that out. This cover has, this was the first one I slow stitched, has the most slow stitching on it. I did a back stitch around the entire poinsettia, and although I covered it up, I did have satin stitch on the stamens. And in fact, satin stitch on this sort of swirly thing as well. Because of that, I didn't cover the spine. So all I've done to embellish, because it would seem foolish to me to cover up slow stitching period. So all I did was add a bit of this, it's not really tulle, and this button to replace those stamens that I covered up. So let's begin. Now, if you saw the video where I was doing the covers, and that was very recently, you will know that because the book itself was in great condition, like the end papers were perfect, I wanted a hidden spine because I didn't want it to interfere with the slow stitching I was doing. I just wrapped this, this fabric was a table runner. I wrapped it around front and back to create two pockets. Now, we know that fabric is not like paper. There's give. Things can be out of square, blah, blah, blah. So you'll see here's more slow stitching. You'll see that in some of the pockets, I've had to disguise the fact that it wasn't very straight, that something was off kilter. So this is a reproduction, this is a digital of mine, of some antique Christmas cards. This came out of a book, and then of course I always have my message about the journal, or a note from the journal maker. Fabric obviously covering the inside spine. So I've used a combination of book pages, well, I'll only say it once because the papers are similar. Scrapbooking paper, digital, wallpaper. I guess this is Tim Holtz brand, these black and white photos that I've used. This is just a digital. I just added this fuzzy stuff here to show that it is a pocket, and you could actually, no, I guess it's a belly band. You could actually get it out if you needed to. This was the cover page, title page, out of this book. Now, did I cover up the date? 1927, so not quite 100 years old. The books were in great shape. This little tab came off a little girl's or a baby dress. Oh, are these going to be shedding the whole time? This came off some vintage gift wrap. This is some washi tape for reinforcement. Some of these images came from the Graphics Fairy because I'm thinking, okay, I paid for the membership. Why do I not ever think of going there and grabbing some digitals? So anyway, just some places to write on there. 6x6 paper, I think, a scrap of lace. This was something I found at the last minute, so I found myself going back and adding more to the journals. It's on a roll. Well, it's a glittery Christmas tree border. So I added that to everything. And I added one of these to every journal as well. So this is a beautiful vintage image from, I think it's the Graphics Fairy. This was obviously a masterboard that I had done and turned it into a page. This graphic came off a solicitation for donations letter that we got from a charity of some sort. This is actually tissue, like a Christmas, like a Kleenex, you know, for your little snotty nose, that I decoupaged onto there with a sticker. And this is just scrapbooking paper. This is a wrapping paper here. Christmas card, and I used one of these library Dewey Decimal cards that, you know, back in the day, libraries all had these, and they were sitting in a wooden drawer or in a set of drawers. And this hole, these cards had been threaded onto a little steel rod. And anyway, so added some scraps there for the hole, and this is some vintage wrapping paper. You'll see it appear again. And this was cut out of a Victorian Christmas book. This is a Norman Rockwell. I'm pretty sure that's his MO. Some place to write. This came out of a scrapbooking kit. I love these colors together. And I used an edge punch to do this snowflake design. You'll see that. That's common to every journal as well. In the middle here, I just used a piece of scrapbook paper, added a couple of digitals to sort of, you know, just decorate it a bit. Oh, and this border, obviously, I added as well. And then just now, before turning on the camera, I added a tiny jingle bell to each journal. Now, I've left the strings long so that a person could add other charms if they so desired. Or if this becomes annoying, like it is below it shouldn't interfere with the book standing. It doesn't, the way I've tied it. But if it annoys you or you want to do something else with it, by all means, cut it off and relocate it. More of that dress. That's a die cut in a Tim Holtz thing as well. This was some ribbon, wired ribbon that I used to make a pocket. And because the pages are so small, I ended up, this is how wide the ribbon is. So that's 3 inches, I'm pretty sure. So I ended up having to kind of fold it back on itself, which makes this more, you know, stronger and more stable. I also wanted to add some lace, but again, you know, everything is just sort of compressed a bit. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. This is a vintage gift tag of some sort. Or not some sort, it's obviously a Christmas vintage tag. Another one of those Tim Holtz things. I fussy cut out of a book. I had to cut this Christmas card narrower. Luckily, I didn't have to say all the best Christmas. Use this digital to cover up some messaging there, branding. This is, again, a strap off that little dress, a die cut, a snowflake die cut, a piece of lace, what do you call these? Sticker, vellum sticker. And here is some stamping that I had done on a piece of not cheesecloth, but what do we call it? can't think of the word. You know, the very basic cotton fabric that I had tea or coffee dyed. And then I slow stitched a little box around there. And there are just some odds and ends. Some of this is from from Graphics Fairy. There's that same lovely Christmas paper. This is the other side of the masterboard that I had done. I did a fabric flip with some lace and more of the little dress. I think now the dress is all gone. Some sari type fabric, some more sari type fabric, and then again a piece of that wired ribbon to hold it all together. This is part of an edge trim that I had just isolated and cut off. I used this to create this pocket. And this is a cute little, this was actually, I made these, I guess, last year from some vintage Christmas wrap, too. It was just all these Santa faces. So I thought that was pretty cute. And there's just some sisal on the end there. This is an embossed paper that I had done, and I just highlighted the raised areas with probably, I'd say, worn lipstick Distress Oxide. Here's just the plain old book page, a image or part of an image out of a Christmas magazine. This is that same vintage wallpaper. I just loved it, and I wanted to make sure everyone got some of that. The back side, didn't do anything there. Again, I think there was a bit of a distortion in the width here, so I just added a few little scraps and a ribbon. This thing here came off a very old worn quilt that I used as a cover on one of the big blush journals, which I will be listing, or doing a flip through and listing, you know, in the next day or two. And let's call that a red letter day and mark it on our calendars. So again, generous pockets front and back. So as I said, I may be replacing this ribbon because it is, you know, it's almost too short. So we'll put that one aside. Now I will, okay, where am I going to list these? Maybe I should, I think I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to, well, you can reach out to me after you see this video and say, oh, I want that. How can we make that happen? Miss Journal Maker person. Or, well, not or. Well, you could do that. And I will also, I'll list 2 of them on the Maker's Market and 2 of them in my Etsy shop. And we'll see how things go from that perspective. Let's go on to the next one. I said that this one has the most slow stitching, and that's why it's got the least decoration on the cover. With the others, I chose to, yes, all 3 others have lace covering the spine, even though it didn't really need to be covered. This has this sheer ribbon, and onto the ribbon I've pinned an angel charm. Now each of the other 3, so all except the first one, get an angel charm. This one is really heavy and substantial and nice. Now I've shown you before the slow stitching on this one, and in fact there's a glittery little green thread running, or there's a glitter thread running through the green. I used excuse me, more of that tulle, a vintage yo-yo, and a gem to finish that off. And then, as I said, lace on the okay, so what I did to disguise the fact that the width of the pocket was not uniform top and bottom is turn this back on itself. And I could get away with that because it had a nice finished serged edge and so on. The back side is lovely as well. So again, stuff in the pockets. I thought I really like this thing. It's not Christmas, but I just like this little mini collage that I had done. You know what? I think that's washi tape. I'd done this ages ago, came across it and thought, that's going to be perfect in this journal. Again, the cover page out of the book, the tree trim. Oh, here I've definitely covered up the date. Oh, 1910. Again, where I could, I added little borders. Love this Christmas image. I can't remember where I got it from, but I backed it. Made a little side or a tuck spot here. Again, a fab, that's part of that little dress. Same Christmas card, same library card. Used a digital there to hinge that. This is part of that ratty old quilt that Kim Newberg had, or quilt cover that Kim Newberg had given me. Again, the edge there, more embossing, masterboard, ribbon, pocket, and lace. Little insert there, more of the Kleenex. I don't think it's Kleenex brand, but a tissue with those cute little pink presents, pink and green presents. Trim there, photo, little digital, slow or stamped and border, stitched border around that stamp. Jingle bell, same little guy. Now this was a border trim, and because it's fairly substantial, I just cut off this little vignette and added it as almost like a snippet in each of the journals. This is just decorative here. These aren't pockets or anything. Here's another little tab from the dress. Lots of journaling space. I created a pocket using that digital as a decoration and some little things tucked in there. This was a scrap piece of that. You know what? It feels like this doesn't have... This probably needs something more. So I'll be adding something more because I see that I have a few. That's the issue. Like, I would have to poke myself in the eye with a sharp stick if anyone said to me, you must make 4 identical journals. I couldn't do it. I'm not wired in a way to do that. So the challenge, you know, because I was working in one and the other and this one, that one, is that, you know, maybe it's beginning to look like some got more than others. So I will be adding something more here. I won't bother doing another flip through because let that be a surprise. I've turned this into a pocket, just did a little bit of a collage and a tab there. Again, just, you know, decorative. A person could write over this if they wanted to. Another flip with the same sort of components in it. Again, I had to turn this back, and there's a journaling card and a tag in there. So I'm going to put this one aside, knowing that I have to add a bit more to it. Okay, number 3. So this is bias tape. Now, initially when I closed this, I had it wrapped around twice, but that, you know, again, personal preference. So in this case, the stitching is all this satin stitch on these berries and on this pine. Now, I've added sort of this peachy blush ribbon to the spine just for a bit more decoration. I used a crocheted snowflake ornament, another vintage yo-yo, and this is another beautiful angel charm. This one is just kind of, you know, there's color to her gown, so that's really pretty as well. Oh, if you watched the video where I was wondering whether this way of doing a cover with these wraparound pockets was going to work, this, I guess, yeah, this was my very first one. And it doesn't, so it just has zigzag, pinking shears. I use pinking shears to prevent the fraying. All three others were pinked and then zigzagged. Again, same sort of deck cards and so on put in there. This is, I think, a beautiful image with a little tag inside there. Again, a photo with the opportunity to stick some items in there. Another piece of embossed paper, more of the edge punched out. This is the little stamped piece of muslin. That's the word, muslin. Day late and a dollar short. A little piece of muslin that I use there just as a flip. Again, the title page of the book, 1927. This is place to write, obviously top and bottom. More of the tissue. Same Christmas card. Another piece of that vintage gift wrap. Pocket. We've seen the pocket before. We've seen these beautiful pastel colored poinsettias. Edge trim. Masterboard. This die cut here. Or punch out. Same papers. We've seen those before. I added a bell here as well. Another, that same sort of image you've seen before. Excuse me. There's our Santa little guy. I'm sorry. Added a bit of lace to the bottom of this short page. There's another one of those die-cut snowflakes. The Tim Holtz thing, the tab from the dress, a pocket. This was created using the message part of a Christmas card. I tucked some things in there, including that Santa tag that I showed you earlier. Another one of these, another fabric flip, and here there's enough open space that a person could, you know, journal underneath there if you wanted to, or hide something under there, whatever. Pages are somewhat fragile, so where I could stabilize them a bit, I did. But you can see there's a tiny tear there. And I guess if that bothers you, then you could reinforce it with either, you know, lace or paper trim or washi tape or something to that effect. You can see that I did add washi tape at the spine part where I was going to be sewing through. Same sort of library card. This also is from that little dress. Doesn't that make the cutest little, you know, this was lining, this was the top part. Just, it, like, you couldn't set out to make that. If you tried, it was just the luck of the draw with that little dress, and I took it apart. This is wallpaper here that I've used to hinge it. Some little chickadee paper with a vintage stamp on it, Christmas stamp. The tree, glitter trim. More of these vintagey Christmas card things. On this one, I just folded back the fabric to give a little more access point through the, you know, into the pocket. I think this one needs a couple more elements added to it. So it looks like maybe I showed you the most loaded one first. And then finally the fourth one, lace, another very substantial angel charm, a yo-yo, some lace and tulle underneath it, lace covered spine, and French knots and seed stitch on the fabric. I'm sorry for the coughing. And of course, I will be, I didn't think of counting the pages before I started the video. So things like dimension, page numbers, and so page sides will be explained in the listing. Okay, so here's another one of those where I had to turn it back on itself. More things in the pocket. Here's the same sort of girl. We've seen her. She gets around. We've seen her everywhere. A cute, oh, and I forgot to say, these pockets are actually napkin decoupaged onto card. And then just some, like that's a Graphics Fairy digital there. Again, the punch out title page. Made a belly band here and tucked in a couple of items. This book is probably, I can't really see in there, but I would think probably the same age as the others because they were sort of part of a set. Little ribbon tab there. There's our Santa masterboard. And of course, on something like this, a person could always add, excuse me, could add, you know, something, either clip on a, excuse me, could either clip on a tag or a journaling card for more writing space, or just leave it as it is because it's quite attractive on its own. A tab here with the covering the hole actually in that library card. So there's room to journal here. Could also cover up this connection if necessary. Oh, in this one, I had this, let me help remember what that was initially. Find the other side of it. Joy to the World. Huh. I can't remember where, how and where I got that, but I turned it into a pocket that opens at the edges, and at the back of it was decorated with this index of cookie recipes. So I've tucked in a Santa tag there, covered up some of this wrapping paper with a couple of squares of or pieces of paper to provide journaling space. In this case, the masterboard is the centerfold, so again, you have the option of covering it or adding a corner pocket or whatever you might choose. Again, some journaling space. This is the back side of that envelope. There's some little tickets in there. I used the poinsettia here as a little flip out. I thought that was appropriate. No peeking with all those gifts. Used a punch in the corner there. This is a vintage foot and mouth artist card. Here's the ribbon pocket in this journal. Again, that same trim that I've added to the pages. Other side of the masterboard. Created a little belly band here and tucked in some elements. Here is the embossed piece in this journal. There's some writing space there. You can see that this is getting, just from my handling, has those little tiny tears in it. Again, if that bothers you, then deal with it. If that bothers you, obviously there are ways to reinforce it. However, if it doesn't bother you, it does add something to the overall look. And this was a section of gift wrap that I had cut around and just turned into a little flip there. Here is some of that vintage wrap, and I used this Santa guy as a tab. Fabric flip, reproduction postcard, and the final pocket. And that, my lovelies, is that. I think that I'm going to have a closer look. I suspect that these three still need, especially these two, need some more elements added to them. So be reassured that there will be more than what I've shown you today. And I really hope that you feel a burning desire to add one of these to your own collection. Or know that, oh, this would make the perfect gift for someone else. and you know, pass it on to someone else who may really understand and value what the love and the care and the work that went into it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And very, very soon, we're going to begin the flip-throughs of the large blush journals. So, yeah, hit the notification bell, stay tuned in, and keep checking back. And I do have items listed in 3 places: Etsy, Coffee, well, 4 places: the Maker's Market on District, and Restoration Harmony Home, also on District. That's another marketplace of Angela's. And I've contributed some listings. I'm just going to have a swig of water. I've contributed some listings there that are a little more out of the ordinary. They're more collectible things. Like I have some vintage purses. I have used them as decor items in, in the walk-in closet or in the bedroom. So, there's some elbow length gloves that I've listed. Again, people are choosing to decorate their spaces with things that they love. So if you love, one thing I haven't gotten up there yet, but will, is a christening gown. Because if you look at publications like Victoria Magazine, which again, I'm going to have gazillions of them listed, or Rachel Ashwell's Shabby Chic, or anyone else who does that sort of thing, that quite often people will decorate, especially in a shabby chic style, will decorate a room with, a vintage slip, just hang on its hanger, hanging on the wall, christening gowns, things like that. So, yeah, I just haven't listed that little christening gown. In fact, I might have 2 that are still waiting to get up there. So, it's just a case of checking in every so often, or watching videos to find out what's happening. Anyway, I've kept you long enough. I will let you go. And we will see you in the next one, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.